Like, it's awesome to see our team like grow, like hire, like our first PT we ever hired just got promoted to like a, more of a sales marketing role, non-clinical role. Great PT, but it's awesome to see her like grow and build into something different. So
Yeah.
a few different people on our team, our first ever front desk hires, now a PT, like seeing something like that happen been just cool. You're feeling like you're growing something, and part of your team just continue to like improve and help you build something. And then it's hard to be like a good Google review, right? When you go through and a patient just left a review, it's just like, man, that's why we did this. That's why we get up every day. That's why I worked 80 hours a week, was to create something where they had that kind of experience.
Today, we're talking with Tyler Green, a physical therapist with a passion for personalized care and co-founder of Rise Physical Therapy, based in Northwest Arkansas. Now, Tyler took a bold leap in 2016, leaving behind corporate clinics and hospital systems to create a practice focused on one-on-one patient-centered treatment. Well, now with 4 thriving locations, Rise has become a go-to destination for recovery and performance. But it wasn't always an easy road. From navigating the challenges of scaling to building a team that shares his vision for excellence in care, Tyler's journey is full of insights for anyone looking to turn frustration into innovation. Stick around as Tyler shares how he turned a small clinic into a regional powerhouse, all while balancing family life and his love for the outdoors. You don't want to miss this inspiring blueprint for building a successful patient-first business. This is PT Pintcast.
PT in Arkansas, graduated in 2008 from the University of Tennessee in Memphis. Moved back to Arkansas in 2012. Kind of had worked at a few different places. I'd worked at corporate outpatient clinics, hospital settings. My last job before we opened Rise was at a hospital setting with my current partner, Derek Lee. And we opened that in 2016. We decided to open Rise. So
let's talk about Rise. Let's talk about your practice model. What makes it unique compared to a traditional PT clinic? Although as standard as someone might say any clinic is, they're all the same. They're all going to be different in different ways. So help me like understand the core idea of the practice and why it's distinctive. How do you set yourself apart?
Yeah, so kind of where it came from was we got tired of seeing a patient for an eval and then passing them over to different PT or PTA and never seeing them again until they updated plan of care or whatever was needed. So decided can we create something that would be different than that? So our kind of unique for us is we're one-on-one. That's unique in our area. So, and only physical therapists. So we don't have PTAs. We have techs that'll help with clinical needs and that kind of stuff, but not helping with patient care. So that's probably kind of our biggest unique characteristic. And then at least when we opened, hardly anybody was doing like direct access. Like it was all physician referrals. So we were really geared towards marketing in the community, trying to get people to us more in that primary care type PT role where they're coming to us immediately. That's kind of what we envisioned it looking like.
Did the marketing or the need for it come out of necessity, which is like the mother of invention? And then if so, like what'd you do? Like, did you have a background in it? A lot of people in the profession are like, didn't really had to do it, had to figure it out. And like, what did you lean into? What did you try and what worked?
Yeah, I don't think we had any background in it. Like, no marketing background. The only admin business class I ever took was, the 1-hour credit PT school. That's really doesn't cover anything. It's just more out of necessity. I don't think we had a great plan. It was like, we're both, we want to work hard, figure out how it happens, have to survive, to feed our families. So it was like, how do we drum up business? And didn't want to rely just on physician referrals. So let's get creative. Let's follow people on social media and see how they're doing it. Let's look at other places and talk to people in his network and figure out what they do that's working, and not have to recreate the wheel completely, but like what are they doing that we can maybe do? What can we do better?
Well, I do have a background in marketing, and that's step one. I mean, you did it without knowing it. As you sat down, you thought about it, which is like, okay, like where are these people? They're online or they're in person, right? Like there's only 3 ways to get a new client. I don't care if you're selling cars or you're delivering PT. You pay for ads, that's paid traffic to get in front of people, organic traffic, right? Standing on the street corner or making a YouTube video like this, or it's shaking hands and kissing babies. But do not confuse the two. Do not kiss hands and shake babies. You get a ticket for that, I believe. But what did you lean into with your practice that worked? Or was it, or that you're still doing, that you feel like for every minute of effort or for every dollar, you're getting 2 minutes of return or $2 in return?
I think it was more the community marketing. Like we did a lot of events. Me and my partner are both runners, so that kind of became what we were known for. We're kind of runner PTs of our area. We ran run clubs, connected with them, and early on that was just running with friends, right? We didn't go in there and if you show up for day one to run club and say, "Hey, I'm
Right.
here, come see me," like it's not, yeah, you can't fake it. You got to really like be a part of that community. I think that's still paying off today. We were just at a race this past week and treated 70 runners, and now we got systems where we can go market back to them. Now we have ways to keep track of that, and that's stuff that we've kind of evolved to
Yep.
figure out like how that value can kind of carry forward further.
Yeah, I wasn't going to let you go past that when you say you do community events. That's not enough. I want you to double click, and you did. So you go to a running event, like walk me through the step by step, because people out there sometimes they're going to do it differently. So when Rise shows up to a community event, what's it look like? And then you mentioned a follow up or a way to capture. I'll talk more about that after I hear your explanation. Like, what's your process? What do you do while you're there?
Mm-hmm. So we have, tent set up, the treatment tables. We probably volunteer for the race, help them set up, those types of things too. Be part of the nonprofit that maybe that's helping support. We've got, booths. Now we've got QR codes people can scan in, fill out their consent to treat. So as soon as they do that, then it's going to like load them into a CRM that we've
I
got,
like that.
these 70 people that we can filter out whenever we want to. For like a slow season, we're like, we know spring races are going to be the next thing. We could go back and be like, hey, let's market back to some of these runners that we treated in the fall. So we some soft tissue work, kind of see what they're doing, what injuries they might have after the race, but having conversations with them during that part, explaining what direct access looks like. Like a lot of people think, oh, I can't come see you. I need to have a doctor referral. In Arkansas, you don't have to. So
Right.
it's a lot of that, and sometimes it doesn't pay off right away. Like we'll have lots of people may not come see us 6 months later. Like, yeah, I
Relationship building.
saw you at that event, and didn't need you then, but I remembered you and want to come back.
Yeah, I'll tell, and we see this pretty consistently when people are doing events and they're looking for an immediate ROI. You touched on it a second ago, and Seth Godin, Gary Vee will call it jab, 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 right hook. Have you ever heard of that before? That
Mm-hmm.
phrase, which is, listen, if I show up and I immediately want something in return, what I gave you was not a gift, right? It was a give to get. And with jab, 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 right hook, the jabs refer to these gives. It's every time Rise is at an event, and then after at that event, I get an email from Tyler or your partner about running shoes, or hey, here's a calendar of events you might want to get involved. It's never a give. So by the time you say, hey, if you need help getting ready for this running season, Rise Physical Therapy is here for you. It doesn't feel, that right hook doesn't feel so icky because you've
Mm-hmm.
given, and now they feel accustomed to you. And I like that. Even when I know that this is what a company or a brand is doing to me, it still works because we're humans, and that's actually what we're looking for. Seth
Mm-hmm.
Seth Godin did say people don't buy products or services; they buy relation stories and magic. And relations is an often an overlooked and undervalued way of building a business.
Yeah, we've seen that. Like, I remember my partner would be running with a run club, and early on, like he just kept being present and doing group runs. And one time was like, I thought you were gonna be like that one restaurant guy who just showed up, once or twice and
Right.
asked for business and never came back again. Like you never
Right.
asked for business; you were just present and got to know people, making community.
And I'll tell you, man, like the bar's low because there's more people like that who are looking for a quick turnaround than there are people who are willing to do the work and say, I'm going to put the work in now for 5 years from now. Let me hear some of the biggest challenges. How long has Rise been in business, real quick? Like how long
Will
have you
be
guys?
8 years.
8 years. All right.
Yeah, in two
So
days.
you
Yeah.
pass sort of the point of oblivion, right? It's like most businesses fail within the first 2 to 3 years. But give
Mhm.
me a challenge, like a big challenge you think back on, like something that made you feel gross, maybe thinking about it right now, and then you overcame it because you're still sitting there. How'd you overcome it?
It probably was that 2 year mark. So
Oof.
we opened our second clinic in 2018, around 2 years from where we opened, and really weren't ready. We didn't have processes set up. We didn't really have a plan. We just knew people are asking us to go on that side of town. So we're like, if people want us to go over there, we should do it.
Yeah.
We were ready to scale. We just started working harder. We had a clinic director that we really liked well, great PT, great guy, but we didn't train him well, so we kind of set him up for failure. So like things like that, where it's like we just really weren't ready. I forget who I talked to, which course I went to. They're like, clinic one's hard, clinic two is like, what are you doing? You shouldn't
Yeah.
do this. Clinic three, you probably kind of got it figured out. Clinic four, it's kind of rolling. So after that, if you got the right thing set
And
up,
where are you now?
we're at our fourth right now.
So you can speak to that sort of analogy from experience, but I'm not even a math guy. Going from 1 to 2 is the mathematical largest percentage
Mm-hmm.
increase you'll make, right? Unless you're going to start adding, like 4 clinics at a time. But when you talk about not having that marketing background, what other things besides community? You mentioned a QR code into a CRM, being able to email those people, and you mentioned
Mm-hmm.
words like segment. remember, you fibbed, man. You told me you had no marketing background. You've been doing this for 8 years. You got a little marketing experience under your belt now, right? A little bit,
I got some kind of marketing background now with
but by
MBA and
necessity.
post COVID,
By
basically.
necessity, right, right, right.
Yeah.
So, what are some other things that you do now that 8 years ago were completely foreign to you? It was a different language. That today it's like, well, of course we're gonna take that consent to treat from the QR code, take their email address, tag it as a running event, and then we're going to retarget that. Like that's pretty sophisticated what you did there, but that's basics. So what other
Mhm.
things do you do? Because that is one of the biggest hurdles that clinic owners who are going to go from 0 to 1 clinic or 1 to 2 are going to face. What are some things that 8 years ago you would never thought of that you think about on the regular now?
Marketing specific or just kind of
Yeah,
general
let's go
clinic?
marketing specific first.
Here's a question for you. Do you want to boost your clinic revenue by $290 per patient per quarter? Of course you do. That's rhetorical. Physiotech's remote therapeutic monitoring can help you do that, enhance patient outcomes, ease provider workload, and turbocharge your earnings. Kickstart with RTM at physiotech.ca. That's physiotech.ca. And the thing you interact with the most at your clinic, if you're a therapist, like it or not, is your EMR. MW Therapy's all-in-one outpatient PT EMR gives you seamless integration of patient portals, marketing automations, and billing, all at one unbelievable value. Switching over is a breeze too. Kick the tires, take a test drive at mwtherapy.com. And where is your PT career going? It's not rhetorical, it's literal. Embark on extraordinary patient care adventures with Jackson Therapy Partners. Visit them at jacksontherapy.com. This is perfect for physical therapists eager to make their mark, to do what you want to do, where you want to do it. Discover where your career can take you at jacksontherapy.com.
That's a good question. Maybe we do some AdWords and Facebook ads and that kind of stuff occasionally that people do, but we don't do that often because I feel like you could just throw money at that all day. I
Yeah,
think we did that a little bit early
it's
on.
a different skill, man. It's easy, it's simple to do, but not necessarily easy to be good at. So that
Mhm.
is where I always say refer out, man. Refer out to somebody. If that's, back to the 3 ways you can get a new patient is paid, organic, or in person, shaking hands. That paid one, you can, as you mentioned, throw money at it. But when you do were you the person or was your partner the person or someone in clinic managing that?
It was typically me early on and still has been until recently. And then we kind of
Yeah.
pass that on a little bit as we
It's
kind
a
of
different
grow.
skill set. Like the rules of that game change every 24 hours, it feels like. Unless
Hmm.
you're a ninja at it, it can feel like a money pit.
Yeah, the other thing is it's kind of been more the like segmenting, like maybe what insurance a patient even has, like something like that. I wouldn't have thought early on. Like if we know we can market back to a Blue Cross plan that might pay better reimbursement wise than a United Healthcare plan that we don't want to mess with. So factoring in like not every patient's equal if we're trying to generate a dollar. You don't want to focus on that completely, but sometimes that's a priority that you're like, if we
Yeah.
want to get 5 more patients,
Yeah.
which segment of them do we want to get them from?
It sucks that we got to think that way, but if you're trying to be financially viable, right? We have this Peace Corps gene in our DNA as physical therapists. We want to give away everything for free, but then there's a bill that comes every month from the power
Mhm.
company and from your EMR and for rent and for all those things, and you got to pay people. So you have to think differently. What advice would you give to other PTs looking to go from 0 to 1? And they're saying, yeah, I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy sitting there like Tyler 5-8 years from now with 4 clinics. Is there any like broad scope advice you'd give?
I think just learn from others, like try to network as much as you can, talk to people. I had colleagues, I went to PT school with that, I still pick their brains, try to go visit them, see
Yeah.
what I can learn from them. Um, that's been the most beneficial part. I think partly it's easy to get jaded sometimes, because PT's hard and burnout rate's high. It's all you hear right now is like how hard it is and get out of PT, but it's like, it really can be great if you find the right way. If you can't find what works, then maybe you need to create it. And it's not easy. So if people are out there, also, I think there's a lot of things on, Instagram, like just go create this cash-based pay, clinic. It's going to be easy. Run these
How hard
ads
could
and
it
you'll
be?
have, 30,000 packages. And it's like, well, you might, but it's going to be hard. Like it's going to be hard work. Like you're going to have to really dive into it to make it work.
Yeah.
I think there's luck involved, but I think if you're, trying to learn, work hard, and just make wise decisions and learn from your mistakes, and you're probably going to be pretty successful.
Now your model, if you were to break down your week, right? Let's say you work 40 hours, but you're a business owner, so there's no possible way you're only working 40 hours in a
True.
week. Just not, you're always on. But are you dividing your time between clinical time and business owner management, marketing, all the other thing time, or are you purely on one side of the fence?
It's been morphing a lot over the last like year and a half, 2 years. I was, full time treating probably 40, 45 hours a week for probably 4 years. And then also, doing business side marketing, having meetings with, my partner, that kind of stuff. And it's kind of gradually morphed. And now I'm 2 days of full time clinic. And then the rest is more, admin, working with the team, trying to do some marketing stuff, those types of things. And that's
Yeah.
been super successful helpful to get out of like working in the business so much. I know people always say work in the business, not all the business, but it's like that was really hard to do. So that was probably one of the biggest successful things is find people that you trust, hire a good culture, try to build off of that, hire great people. And we've been lucky to have a great team. So I don't think we would definitely wouldn't be here without people that, that are with us. So that's learning to delegate has been like critical. And just learning what your skill set doesn't necessarily favor. Like, if you're not good at this, then find somebody else who's maybe better at it.
Hire for your weaknesses. Well, bringing up that word hire for your weaknesses. Any tips on trying to find people? Like, how do you? I'm sure you've made a mistake at a hire. We all have. You've hired someone and realized, oof, the interview. This was not on the brochure. So, how do you find that person that's going to fit with your clinic? Any insight into that and how you do it?
Yeah, we've grown a lot in that lately. I think we're lucky because we've been a nice like part of the country, so they're desirable. People want to move here, so we have a good list of candidates. Versus, I know people in more rural parts of Arkansas haven't been able to get a hire in over a year. So for us, it's kind of setting like our uniques, kind of what we talked about earlier, like what a work environment looks like, setting expectations early on, kind of showing you like what a work day would look like, what productivity standards are. That way, there's like all that stuff's kind of like on the front end. Hopefully, there's not going to be surprises on the back end. We've learned that more lately. And then lately, it's been even having like a bench. Like you might have 5 great candidates, but only need one position. So like having some systems where it's like, man, I really wanted to hire her, but like this other person was awesome. So let's keep that contact, check in with them. We're doing that. We're doing that now.
I love
That's
the
been
bench
like
analogy.
super helpful.
Yeah, the bench analogy, I was taught that when I was in radio, which is the person who's doing, midnight to 6 a.m. on Saturday into Sunday morning now could be your morning girl 3 years
Mhm.
from now. But how are you helping that person grow? And I remember thinking, well, I'm giving her time, I'm giving her shifts, I'm paying her. And they're like, that's not all that person wants though. Like paycheck's
Mhm.
nice, right? Covers your costs.
Yeah.
But those are table stakes. What are you doing with that person? You bring that person into culture, you helping them learn. I've worked at some places where that was clearly not a focus, where they were just like, we'll find people, right? We're big enough. We'll just find people. And then there were small places who were like, we got to grow these people from scratch. We got to plant them in the
Mhm.
soil and make sure they stick. Hopefully they stick around. Last question's a dual question, backwards and forwards. What has been the most rewarding part of this journey with Rise Physical Therapy? And then what's next? What's something you've been doing it for 8 years? What's something you hope to hit in the next 8 years?
Okay. Good question. Kind of two part. I think most rewarding, like it's awesome to see our team like grow, like hire, like our first PT we ever hired just got promoted to like a more of a sales marketing role, non-clinical role. Great PT, but it's awesome to see her like grow and build into something different. So
Yeah.
a few different people on our team. Our first ever front desk hires now a PT. Like seeing something like that happen has been just cool. You're feeling like you're growing something, and part of your team just continue to like improve and help you build something. And then it's hard to be like a good Google review, right? When you go through and a patient just left a review, it's just like, man, that's why we did this. That's why
Yeah.
we get up every day. That's why I worked 80 hours a week, was to create something where they had that kind of experience. Like those are always just awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right, last thing we do on the show is the parting shot. You've already given sort of some of it, but how would you summarize this last 8 years with Rise? Is there something you want to leave with your mic drop moment about going ahead and jumping in and starting your own clinic?
I don't know. It's like just be ready to do it. You're never gonna feel good about it. Like I said, I would never open a PT clinic. Like I was like, I'm never gonna do this. But just like frustrations led to like we can do this better. It can be done better. If you really feel that way and you're willing to put in the effort, I think you can make it happen.
Well done. Tyler Green, Rise Physical Therapy. Appreciate you being the guinea pig here. We just wanted to give people insights into what do these clinics look like? How do they operate? How are they different? And then maybe they're accessible to more and more physical therapists to take charge of their career and open their own business. Tyler Green, appreciate it, man.
Cool. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.